Hello everybody and welcome back. Julie here, and I just want to give you my demonstration for our homemade Italian sauce. This is something that I learned from my mother and my grandmother, and it's been passed down through the generations, and I want to give you my basic tomato sauce and how we make it. So today we're making Italian tomato sauce, my family style, and this is what we're going to start with. I have cans of tomato sauce here. I like to crush tomatoes with the basil, is what I use. Of course, if this was my grandmother, she'd be using her homemade canned tomatoes, which I don't have the time to do, but that's what we're using here. I have my parsley cut up, my Italian parsley, the flat leaf. I have my garlic, my onion, my fresh basil, and being that it's summertime, I'm taking advantage of getting fresh spices to use. I have a little bit of oregano. I don't really use a lot of oregano because it can be overpowering. Salt, pepper, and today I'm using pork neck bones, and that is something that I change up depending on what I'm in the mood for, what we have on hand. It could be making with meatballs. I could be using oxtails with it. I could be using sausage. It really depends on what I have on hand or what kind of sauce we're in the mood for, but this is basically what type of meat that I would use. Okay, so what I'm going to start with, I'm going to put olive oil in the pan. I'll add a little bit more here. I want to get it warmed up because what I want to do is I want to cook my onions a little bit to the translucent, add my garlic so it can start building my flavors. Here's my onions that I have all chopped up. Get them cooking. We'll add a little salt and pepper. I'm going to try to season a little bit at each stage that we go to, so this way the sauce is well seasoned and well flavorful. I'm going to let these cook a little bit, and then I'm going to add the garlic and let that brown a little bit. I just don't want to put the garlic in too soon because I don't want it to get too brown. Okay, so now I'm going to add some garlic. And one thing you probably noticed is I really didn't give you measurements because I guess number one, I don't really measure, so it's hard to do. And it's really based on flavor and your own preference. So I just want to give you what I use, and when you do it, of course, you want to just taste it as you get it all together to see if you need a little bit more. If you like more onion flavor, add more onions. If you like it more garlicky, add more garlic. Or more parsley or basil. So it's really preference, but I'm just showing you what we do, and you can adjust it, of course, always to your taste, your family, what they like. Okay, so I just want to let this cook a little bit with the garlic in it. I just don't want the garlic to get too brown because then it tends to get bitter. And I don't want a bitter tasting sauce, so I just want it to get a little brown, golden brown that is. And this way it starts releasing some of its flavors before I put the neck bones in. Because I want to get those to brown then. Okay, so here we have where everything's starting to get a little golden brown. And if I was using dried spices, this is when I would add them too, because I'd help them release the flavor. But because I'm using fresh, I'm going to wait a little bit before I add them. I'm going to add just a little bit more olive oil. And I won't put my neck bones in because I want them to start to brown.
Smells great.
Yeah, already you can smell the garlic and the onions. I just want to get a nice brown on this. So that way it can help flavor the sauce. Let me just add a little salt. We'll get the pork seasoned. And some more pepper. See how they're getting nice and brown? That's what we want. Alright, so now I want to add my tomato sauce. I'm going to add some of this fresh seasoning. And a little more pan. And then what we're going to do is add a little water here. Let's get that turned down. And of course, what I want to do is I like to rinse the can. Give it a little water. And stir it around a little bit. Then when I add my fresh spices and seasoning. So this is the basil. This is the fresh parsley. There you go. I'm just going to let this cook. Sometimes I add tomato paste to it, but I don't think today I'm going to really need to.
How long does this cook?
It needs to cook at least a couple of hours. This is oregano. Just going to put a little bit in there. I only have dried. At least a couple hours. You want to make sure the meat is done. Of course, the longer it cooks, the more it's going to thicken up. There we go. I'm just going to now put it down, let it come to a little bit of a slight boil, and then turn it down and let it simmer. Okay, so we have our sauce cooking, and you know what? I'm in a little mood today, I think, to add a little wine to it, which is what sometimes I do. If I have some wine on hand, which I do, I have a little white Zinfandel, I'll add some of that. Sometimes I'll add red wine, depending on what I have. Like I said, this is just basics. I change it up depending on my mood. Sometimes put a little wine in it to give it a little sweet flavor. Let that cook, all cook down. There's just so much you could do with this. Sometimes I like to add mushrooms if I have some on hand, or some fresh carrots, chopped up, and celery a little bit. It just all depends on what type of sauce I'm in the mood for, or what I'm in the mood for. But this is a nice basic sauce to get you started.